All power to the people, brothers and sisters. Right on. Apparently, great confusion has been caused by some so-called Panthers and some so-called revolutionaries that the Black Panther Party had something to do with creating the Afro-American liberation struggle, when in fact it's the other way around. The Afro-American liberation struggle produced the Black Panther Party as a vehicle of its advancement, and as long as that instrument is advancing the struggle, then it's revolutionary and vanguard. And the minute it stops doing that, it's blocking, it's retarding. It is not a vanguard, it is not a relevant organization. We cannot sit here passively and look at these egomaniacs or whatever they want to call themselves go around and parade as if the Black Panther Party belongs to them. Because we know across this country there are hundreds, thousands of black people, poor people, white people, all kinds of people that dedicated something to building the Black Panther Party. The base of that party was the Afro-American black lumpen proletariat in the cities, in the ghettos throughout this country. This is the Black Panther Party. And you have to look at the situation and look what has been done to the Black Panther Party primarily through three forces. You have the outright blatant police attacks. Then you have the police infiltration, and this infiltration is on many levels. Don't you think it's not? From Washington, D.C., or the Pentagon, the FBI, the CCI, the IDA, all of them. I don't even know their names, and it's not relevant because it's all different levels and different aspects of pigs, of enemies, all right, that have brought about this split throughout the country. And the final outcome of this has created a tremendous setback, because whether or not you know it, the Black Panther Party was recognized as a vanguard force not only in this country but throughout the world, especially in Africa. And the destruction of the Black Panther Party by these combined forces of agents, of pigs, of jailings, of prisons, of brutalities, of murders, this has really destroyed the Black Panther Party, and they have been cooperated, this process has been collaborated upon by the counter-revolutionary and revisionists, and this is what it is. You see, and this is exactly what they want. They think they got a clear-cut railroad, and this is their final coup in destroying the Black Panther Party, and the Black Panther Party is a name that's irrelevant. You see, what's been going on across this country is a direct confrontation between the revolutionaries in the Panther Party, the military and political revolutionaries in the party, and the police departments. And this is how they operate. They operate this everywhere, and this is why this whole so-called movement is in this present state, because they've terrorized, arrested, convicted, and done all these things to demoralize and have people isolated and confused. And this is just a tactic. You have to realize that these pigs, these imperialist aggressors, these vicious, murderous, barbarous beasts that cause murder, torture, and suffering to the peoples of the world in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, everywhere, and here, this is the headquarters. These people are making a strategic retreat, and they're withdrawing from Asia, and they've made certain arrangements to deal with Latin America. And they have a certain concentration that they're moving on next, and whether you know it or not, you need to, brothers and sisters, you need to. It is Africa. There are liberation forces fighting on the ground in Africa and have been fighting an armed struggle for quite some time. And it should be clear, it is very clear, that it's these forces that are left out of these negotiations and these deals and these great power discussions, you see. It's these forces right here that have to take what they can get, and it's us over here that ain't nobody consulting us about nothing. Nothing, you see. Not even the LAPD and what they're running down on this courthouse, what they're running down throughout this city, and you need to investigate that. You call yourselves students, well, study that. Study reality. Study what's outside of there, you see. Study something to help people be able to deal with this situation instead of some trip. But you can trip on into a concentration camp, baby. We have to recognize that the time is now to intensify our efforts politically, militarily, socially. And at the present time, you see people retreating and de-emphasizing. They're going in the opposite direction. You're going in the direction that these pigs want you to go in. They're giving them a break. While Nixon goes to China and the CIA mercenaries in Angola plot on how to destroy the government of the People's Republic of the Congo, the only Marxist-Leninist state in black Africa. And I think you need to know that there is a direct relationship between our struggles that's on the ground, that's against these forces of repression and aggression and murder that are racist, fascist, imperialist beasts. Now that might sound striking to you, but this is exactly what they are and exactly what they're doing in Vietnam, what they're doing in Korea, what they've done in the Congo, and what they're doing in Los Angeles. And you have to recognize that as a reality, whether you recognize it or not. That's an objective condition. Whether you call them beasts now or you wait 20 years later and say, oh, children, they were some real beasts. I'm sorry I didn't deal with it then. You know, I mean, ain't nobody waiting on you. I'm just telling you, you see. The situation in Wilmington, North Carolina, where the fascists have just said, well, we're ready for the Civil War. We accept your challenge, you know. Let's deal with it. Let's get it on. And you have to realize that the fascists are preparing this type of thing. Under your noses, they don't give you any information on what you're doing. You turn up one morning and look around and say, oh, you think you're going to the elections. You might be going off into a concentration camp. And we have to recognize in our cities, in our ghettos, in our things that we will be encircled, we will be surrounded. We have to develop tactics and practices that will enable us to survive this stage of the warfare. We have to be in a position to prepare ourselves now to endure the conditions of war that will be visited upon us. You have to recognize that you people here who are capable of doing certain things, you shouldn't be so slack. You see what I'm saying? That there is a lot that can be done that does not call that much from you, if it's nothing more than passing out a leaflet or helping put out a newspaper or getting on the radio or going down to a courtroom. But if you show some concern, you see, because what we're talking about and what we've always talked about is the power of the people, you see. The people have this power to defeat this. It has been demonstrated over 25 years in Vietnam, the tremendous, irresistible power of the people once properly organized, properly directed, educated, and continually elevated to a higher and higher level of struggle. And we have to recognize these dialectics and recognize these phases and identify these things and find out how we ourselves can apply these principles to the situation of Afro-Americans. And like especially what you mentioned about the minority. We are minority where? In whose kind? I never considered myself a minority. You dig it? So you're an Afro-American. So what kind of minority is that? You dig it? How do they define a minority? In whose terms? If you look at the world situation, I mean, all y'all know who the minority is, and so do they, see? So we're not going to even get off into that. It's a numbers game, it's a skin game, and it's a trick. And it ain't the issue. I mean, there is never any type of armed force, any type of political force, any type of governing body. It's a minority. Who runs this country? A minority. But they don't tell them because you're a minority, you can't run the country. You see? The ruling class is the minority, and let's focus in on that. The people are in the majority. The pigs is uptight, and they got the people tricked and deprived of many material necessities. And this is why we have to start right here, and the people that have these certain material things, they just share them, you see? Because we all need them. Am I making myself clear? All right, then. And as we understand, repression breeds resistance, and resistance breeds repression. People dare to struggle, dare to win. All power to the people, brothers and sisters.